Hi, my name is Janelle Harris, and I am excited to share my story today on Conversation with Pearl.
Hello, sunshine. Good to see you again.
Hey everybody, this is Pearl Sharenzo, Women Successful Living, and I'm so excited to bring you another episode of Conversations with Pearl. And I have a special guest who's actually become a dear friend to me, and she's doing some amazing things here in my Tampa Bay area, but across the country, all over the world. I'm so excited to have you meet Janelle Harris. She is the Powerhouse founder, CEO of SheExist and HeExist magazines. She is at the top of the list of global business influencers. And I want you to know that Janelle Harris is a professional marketer and managing guru. Oh my gosh, she just gave me some really great nuggets before we got on today, with a vast experience turning small businesses into a multi-level Fortune 500 business. Over the last 15 years, her office has grown from a small part-time office to a multi-doctor practice. So just know that over this growth, she has also demonstrated excellent organizational and interpersonal skills to develop office staff and improve infrastructure within a business. And knowing she once started with a small office, she took her small office to over 5,000 per week, you guys. Now, that is something every business should want to learn how to increase their profits. So you see, she believes in progress. If you can see it, believe it, then you can make it happen. So forming a company called SheExist, along with her colleagues, Mr. G. Mitchell, she had to make sure to acknowledge individuals within the community for their hard work and dedication to their city. She has started a freelance for She Magazine, a local company here in Tampa, Florida. And later, she emerged into her own magazine company called SheExist. As an experienced known networking queen, which she is the queen of networking, she interviewed many celebrities, from Shirley Murdoch, Will Downing, DJ Kim Lee, iconic award winner Jody Watley. I love that Jody Watley. Global artist Titus Showers, and glam house Jamie Ziegler. So throughout the pandemic, Janelle has rewarded over 200. Listen, you guys, she's rewarded over 248 recipients from her SheExist Global Virtual Awards, and she continues to recognize those that make a difference through social media. She's known to hold leadership conferences in various cities to continue making her mark of excellence on society. She has worked in several media angles, and she has partnered with over 809 media to cover several press releases. So she also covers consistently New York Fashion Week, the Oscars, expos, and more. And I'm so excited because her SheExist magazine organization is a magazine to be reckoned with, as they expanded its territories to neighboring countries, such as they're now hitting Belgium, Italy, India, and Australia. I am so excited to have my friend Janelle Harris with us today. How are you today?
Hey, oh my goodness, you're so beautiful. And thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome. And talk about beauty. You're just as beautiful as everybody too. And I just love your spirit. You've just been such a blessing in my life. And I want the listeners to learn about you. So tell us, Janelle, take us back before all this exciting things were happening when you were that small business just starting out, and walk us through what life was like for you back then.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Take me back to memory lane. Believe it or not, sometimes I wish I can go back because it was the early beginnings of me. But, people say, send your bio. And I always want to start with those beginnings because those beginnings is what made me who I am, So being that office manager in that small town called Fredericksburg, and just being everywhere in the community, chambers of commerce, and just getting to know the elders was my comfort zone. And that just equipped me to build relationships, groom myself, teach professionals how to market themselves because, doctors, they just want to do the job. They're the doctors. They tell you what to do, prescribe your prescription, and go home. Well, when they had me as their office manager, I showed them that we need to have some bedside manner. and smooth and love on them. And not saying that they didn't love their patients, but they had so much patience. It was, let's go. So I kind of taught them how to build that relationship while they were seeing their patients. And then soon, Pearl, they did it like clockwork, that now you couldn't even get the patient out the room. So building relationships is key. And that has groomed and helped me to become the SheExist magazine publisher.
And I love that because it's so true. Like building relationships, not just, if you think about it, it starts when we're younger. How do we build those relationships for our friendships and those connections? And then as you get in business, you have to, I love as you were describing the doctor, you have to build that relationship because, I don't want to feel just like another patient walking in the door. And I can tell you what doctors made me feel like I was not just a number walking in the door. And I know that's because they were building those relationships. And I think it's a great reminder that for the listeners that, building relationships and establishing those relationships, especially if you're, an entrepreneur just starting out, or even if you're, an existing business and, always look back. Would you agree? Like looking back and reevaluating, how are we building relationships? How are we connecting to our customers we already have? Right. And so I know that you're doing that now with a magazine. Like walk us through, like, where did the magazine birth? Like, how did that birth for you?
So I was always in the industry because I'm from New York. So when you're talking about fashion, the city, I was always the one to really just dress fur coats and heels. But that was just me. But I had a lot of connections because I used to go get my hair done. I was around celebrities when they weren't celebrities, if that makes sense. So leaving New York at a young age, going to the corporate world, I left everything behind. But I was a promoter in the club setting. So what that would look like is I would bring everybody together. We'll have these major parties, right? Whether they were transit parties, they were precinct parties, COs, very professional parties. And we would do over 1,000 people in the building, right? So that's what taught me network marketing. But I say that to say, having the same mindset for marketing is no different from having it as a publisher. You just have to understand how you're networking, how you want to bring everything together. So I'm able to use the same principles that applied into the industry, into the corporate setting, and now into a publication. That's crazy, isn't that, Pearl?
That is wild. And it's like a lot of moving pieces too, like you're building relationships and you're building, all these pieces. And I remember when you were launching and we were going to do an event and you had to push the event off a little bit because you got this great new contract too. And you're like, okay, so you gave me that example that I love to share with my clients. And that is that set your priorities, set your boundaries. So you knew this is a great thing, but if I try to do this and this, I'm not going to do it successfully. So let me move one so it can be successful. And I think that's a great lesson. Would you agree? Like evaluating all the time what's happening around you to know where to move your parts.
Wow. Yes. Thank you, Pearl. Thank you for that. That's true.
Yeah. And I love, I've been watching you. I mean, we got connected over a year ago and I've been watching on all this great thing. And I remember when you guys listening, so Janelle calls me, it was like early July. She's like, hey, do you got a minute to talk? I'm like, sure. And I hopped on the phone. She's like, I want to do this article on you. And, she was honoring me with this great opportunity. I'm like, okay, sounds good. What do you want me to pay? And Janelle's like, I don't want you to pay anything. I'm honoring you. And I was like, what? Most people, because, people don't realize in this, when they're reaching out to you, it's like, they want you to pay for everything. And it's, to give back is so important. And I was honored that, and then you told me, Pearl, I'm putting you on the magazine cover. I'm like, oh, what? Okay. It was just such a great honor. And I love that you are empowering women. And now SheExist is also doing HeExist. So you're doing that.
Yes.
I think that's so amazing. And, how do you identify those that you want to be part of this magazine, and how do you, what's some of the things that you look at, go, oh, that person would be great for this?
So, and that's a very great question, Pearl, because I was watching you probably before you even knew who I was, right? And because we have so many friends connected, so what it does, social media kind of kicks on timeline. So what stuck out were, I think it was you and Michelle Mraz, you guys had the ultimate speaker. And then I saw you shift gears, and then you did this next launch. And then now you did another retreat, right? And I said, wow. So that stood out to me because you were in the network marketing, but also I saw the comments. So when I see the traction, but I also saw the lives that you were impacting, that tells me that you are SheExist. So now I do reach out to you and I do say no charge because you're doing things that I'm doing. You know what I mean? So for instance, who's going to take the time to honor you, right? So in the process of me reaching out to you, we're building that relationship. And then now when you do grace that cover, you really understand what that SheExist moment feels like, because it's a story behind that cover.
And I love that. And I know, that it's something that you don't honor all the time with a free cover. I just want to clarify that too. It's
correct.
Not,
absolutely.
No, it's not
That's
free.
True.
Because there is a fee. But what I love, one of the things in watching you, and that's, you mentioned in my social media, that's really important to me because I don't like to be involved in like people get political and all this crazy stuff. It's not who I am. I want to be authentic. I don't want to be mixed up in all this, other stuff. I want to work on me and who I can empower, because I can't do too much for all the other noise happening, but I know what I can do in my small circle. Right. And so I've been watching you and doing this, and like, I'm like, okay, when's your next event? I want to be there because even this last one, a couple weeks ago when we were there, you guys, like the people that Janelle brings in the room are so amazing and empowering. And they're like, they want to get to know you. I mean, how many times you go to a network event, people just want, here's my card, here's my card, here's my card.
Yeah, right? Network. Yes.
And they want to sell you, but they don't want to get to know you. And I see that's what you're doing. The people you are bringing in the room genuinely want to uplift each other and support and acknowledge what they're doing. And I know that's not easy to bring those people together. And I just love that you're doing that. I think we need more Janelles out in the world to do those things because we need more of that happening. Would you agree?
Wow. Yes, absolutely, Pearl. It's needed because I honestly know what rejection feels like, and living in society, you have to have a safe space, because then what do you have? So you have to build your own table, right?
My girlfriend calls it, who are your balcony people? My friend Lisa Poingham, she's like, who's your balcony people? Who is that on that balcony that will have your back, support you, and uplift you? And it's so powerful to know who those people are. And I was talking earlier on another podcast with Dr. Shelley. We were talking about sometimes those people are seasoned too. Sometimes they're not meant to be in your life all the time, And so that brings me to the next question is, where was there a time in your life when you bring these people together and you had to say, you know what, our season's done, our boundary's done? And how did you handle that?
Well, so, and that's, wow, such spot on, Pearl, because for me, SheExist builds leaders, or it's really designed for a bunch of leaders to be a resource for one another. So for instance, I meet so many people, Pearl, and I'll send these emails. Sometimes I don't pair people up with me because I know I'm not the right fit, but I pair them up. And that's the reality of SheExist. It's like SheExist with no strings attached. You know what I mean? So it's like, you don't have to stay in this pod and feel, oh, I can't walk away. No, it's here to eat, to share, hopefully give back at the table, but it's temporarily. There's seasons. I mean, people come and go. People just email me just because they need something, and if I have it to supply it, that's what it's for. Absolutely. I tell people, I don't want you to come and pay rent in my house because it's not for you to stay.
I love that. Don't come pay rent in my house. It's not for you to stay. I like that. And that's so true because, there are different times. And I love what you said about some people should be connected to others and because it's sometimes not the right fit. One thing I learned early on in social media was there was a post about somebody wanted to know about an insurance. Hey, can you refer an insurance person? Well, I knew the person asking the question and I know 3 different insurance people, right? And so I was like, oh, this one wouldn't be good for this person asking, right? So I sent it to the one. Now I did this publicly. I put it in there. Hey, go reach out to so-and-so. The person who I knew would not be the right fit for that person messages me in my messenger is like, why didn't you refer me? I can't believe you didn't refer me. And the thing is, the person I referred was in our chamber together with us. And I was like, man, first of all, why are you attacking me in my inbox? But let me just explain. They weren't the right fit for you. So why would I refer a customer that's not going to be a good fit for you? I'm not always the right coach for everybody, and that's okay. And sometimes I refer my clients out to other people, and so you're right. It's like, you got to make sure you've got the right fit for people. So I just love that you're sharing that. So I want to know, what are you doing? Because you know me, I'm all about self-care and balance. So, and you were asking me some questions before I came on about how I was doing. What are you doing to quiet yourself and make sure you're taking care of you?
I cannot lie. I work till I get tired, and I'm learning that I cannot do that. So I'm learning that self-care is a must. It's a must.
It really is, because we can get so busy and it gets crazy, and we have to take that, even if it's 15 minutes, Janelle, just to sit outside on a front porch somewhere, right? That's self-care. That's self-care. You'll have to listen to an episode we did earlier. It was a pretty funny episode on self-care. It was hilarious. But all right. So Janelle, one thing I don't know about you is about your family. I met your amazing husband. So tell us about your children.
Yeah, so my son's 25 and my daughter is 16, going on 17. Having a boy and a girl is very difficult because they're so far apart in age. However, being a mom doesn't come with a manual. I was a single parent initially with my son, and I don't have any siblings of my own. So having a mom that was very just isolated and just kind of old modern. She didn't teach me a lot of mother lessons. So I didn't have a manual. So it was rough and difficult, but I do enjoy being a mother to the point of showing them life lessons and helping them with what they need to know. I love my kids to death. I'm a little different. I'm stern. I'm strict. So I'm not the mom that they can just chill with. So it's a difficult situation. Just being honest, it's very difficult being a mom having older kids.
Oh my gosh, I totally get when you're saying I'm very strict. That's me. I'm the strict one in the family. My husband's like, oh, let him just go do it.
Yeah.
It just cracked me up. I remember Matthew, our oldest one, when he turned, I think it was 16 or 17. I remember saying to him, okay, you can, I think my husband's like, we'll give him a curfew till midnight or something like that. And I was like, midnight? What are you talking about midnight? It's like nothing happens good after 11 o'clock. It can be 11 o'clock. Well, then all of a sudden he shows up and it's his first night of being out. And I'm like, where is Matthew?
Right.
It's like midnight. Right. My husband's like, we told him 1 a.m. I'm like, I would have never agreed to 1 a.m. What are you talking about? It's like I had this battle. So, and it was funny because my kids knew mom's going to be strict. She's going to lay down the hammer, but come talk to dad and he'll be the middle one that says, okay. And it was so funny because we had an exchange student from Finland and we have 2 boys. And so we got a female and I was like, oh, this will be fun. In my head, I'm going, we're going to get our nails done, hair.
Right.
I couldn't deal. And she did something we had to give her, a restriction on. And she blew it out of proportion, calling her parents in Finland, just this whole chaos. And I was like, if you'd come out, we could never get her out of her room. And I finally said to her parents, I go, if she would be immersed in what we do, she would have learned, I'm the tough one. Chuck's the little laid back one. Meet us in the middle somewhere, right? But she couldn't do that.
Right.
Yeah, my kids used to call me the drill sergeant when they were young.
Yeah, yeah. So you never, and I feel too, like my daughter, you're a bad mom. So I feel that I'm doing the right thing because I'm not going to let you do things and get accustomed and you think it's okay,
Right. I love that. I what you said too. We know we're doing the right thing. We're being told, well, you're such a bad mom.
Right.
I love that.
Yes.
That's so awesome. So tell me about your husband because he's such a sweetheart. He is so supportive of you, which I think women, that's so important in relationships is to have somebody that supports our dreams, whether you're the wife or husband or whatever it is, like that being supportive of one of those dreams. Tell me about him and how that support is for you.
Well, I know he's one of the reasons that SheExist started because, 11 years of marriage, of course, you have some bumps in the road. But after he realized how consistent I was and he saw, so I would go to sleep with the laptop in my hand, I would make these trips. So I think he had not no choice, but then he believed because I believed. And then I would run a lot of things by him, so, and then 90% of my policies and procedures, believe it or not, and he may not know it, it comes from him because he's very smart, very knowledgeable, articulate, intellect, and he has a lot of principles about just being a business leader. And I would apply it. A lot of times people listen to things, but they don't apply it. But I apply the things that he does talk about because he reads all the time. I don't read, He's always eyes and ears is to the streets, is to the news. So he keeps up with everything, Pearl, everything. So it gives him a lot of wisdom. So now when he's just running things back, I start applying it.
That's so fun. I love that. And him and my
know what I mean?
Yeah. Him and my husband sound a lot alike because it was funny the other day, my husband would be like, what about this? You need to think about that. Try this. And about 2 months ago, Chuck's like, I finally get what you're doing. I finally understand your path. I'm like, what do you mean? Where you been all my life? What do you mean you understand my path? Where you been hiding at? So it's fun to have that support. I think that's awesome. So tell us what's next. SheExist, you're working on next year's editions. And you're also doing something new. I know Sabrina and you and I've told you, let me know what I can do to help. Something around a fashion show.
Oh, yeah. So, I will be doing a lot of New York Fashion Weeks. So we did partner up here in Florida, but I'm going to make my first move in New York just because there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of doors. Just so much has happened in the past year. And New York's my home. And a lot of people are requesting that I bring it home first before I land it elsewhere, just of the fact of let's get the uniform going. But what I am working with who is Columbia University. I'll have some students that's going to be some interns through media, through makeup, through journalism, all the different departments. And I'm excited because that's something that I always wanted to be involved. So there's a lot of moving pieces. We're not doing a lot of political things, more just putting differences aside and listening to a new language of collaboration, empower, and inspiring. So we have a little bit of everything. But just bringing all the moving pieces together and seeing it unfold is really inspiring for me.
I love what you said, that collaborating and inspiring, and I think that's so important in our world right now. I think for me, I feel like that's the way we can move forward. How can we collaborate? How can we learn from one another? And how can we inspire others? And I think I love that you're doing it with like the young adults. I think that's so amazing. And of course, I love Columbia University, so that's even better.
Yes.
But I think we need more of our generation reaching out to the younger generation and be like, come on, let's bring you along. Let's teach you. Let's empower you. Because, they've got so much going on. I mean, they've come through COVID and just so many different life things changing and everything. And, I don't want to get political, but I watched an interview yesterday with one of the soccer players from our men's team, amazing young African gentleman. And his parents are mixed. One's black, one's white. And the person interviewing was trying to like pull in like race, right? And his response was so powerful, where he talked about every country has something that they work through and deal with. And we have to learn from those. Like it was so eloquent how he talked about learning from what we all face that are different. And I thought how powerful this young man was and how smart he was, because he could have gone a whole different way, but he looked at that as an opportunity, like you were saying, collaborating, inspiring. Like, how do we collaborate as a country and as a world to inspire others to not?
Yes, absolutely.
It was so powerful.
Huge.
Yeah,
huge.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think because of, everybody sees the world different. Some see it black and white. Some people see it Democratic, Republican, and that's their will and their right. But we have to start changing the language, because it's not me versus you. It's we live in this society together.
Right.
What to do to make it work.
Yeah, it's really empowering. And so I love that what you're doing. I love the magazine. I love everything you have planned. I mean, I know you and I've talked. There's so many great things coming, and I know we're going to get you on other platforms with us, but I just think it's so powerful. And you've been a blessing to me because, as everybody knows, I lost my son in July, and you and your husband have been a true blessing and checking on me. How am I doing?
Yes,
I just got over COVID last week, and you're just like, first thing you said to me, are you resting? You're taking care of yourself. And here you are with all this going on. You still are checking on others. And that's what I love about you. And that's why the magazine SheExist is such a huge success. And I just see so many more powerful things coming for you. And I'm just glad I got you for about 45 minutes out of the day to sit with us.
It was long overdue.
I know. I know.
Yes.
So now one thing we do before we're going to let you go, and I don't think I warned you about this ahead of time, so I apologize, but we have these cards are called Better Questions, Better Life. And so I'm going to shuffle them. You're going to tell me when to stop, and then I'm going to have you answer the question. Okay? So here we go.
Okay.
When to stop?
Stop.
Okay. So Janelle's question. Oh, you got a blank card, so I'm going to get the one underneath. Actually, this one is blank on purpose. So, so I would love. Let me think of something. So when you think about experiencing the journey of possibilities, what's the first thing that pops in your mind?
Ooh, that is so huge, because for me, everything is possible, right? And I'm a person, and this is the best way I can explain it. Like, if there's stairs, I don't want to walk down the stairs. If I was to see stairs and I was to see a hill, I would jump off that hill and not walk down the stairs, because my faith is so big. So like, the possibilities are endless, but there's something that I really, really want to do, and it's build a legacy. And sometimes I feel like it's impossible because it's so much challenges, if that makes sense. So I would say legacy, my legacy.
I love that. And I get that visual of don't take the stairs, go down the hill, because you don't know what, it's also like, I always like to share when I'm coaching women about, we rush up the hill to get to our goals. Like, we're going. And I'm like, how about you stop and have a picnic on the scenic route on the way
right.
up? Like, you know,
right,
just sit
right,
down
right.
and be like, what's working, what's not working, let go of what's not working and move forward. And then when you get to the top of the hill, we always know you got to come down, right? But nobody says you have to roll down the hill and have it be an obstacle. What if you just take your time going down the hill and reevaluate as where you're going next, you know? And I just love that you said legacy. It's so powerful. So I'm so excited you've been here with us. And so for those that are listening, how do they find Miss Janelle? And how do they, I know they can get a digital copy of the magazine too. So share that with everybody.
Yes. So right now, we're moving into our holiday Hollywood gospel edition. And it's just really giving thanks and gratitude. So that magazine will be out in the next few days. They can purchase. It's for $7.99, www.sheexistmag.com. And if you reach out to Pearl, you could just ask for me. But, you know, if anybody wants to find out who I am, they need to know who Pearl is.
I love that. So I just want to remind everybody that you can reach out to me, and we're also going to put all the links to the magazine when we share the podcast. And I just want to remind everybody too that Sunday evenings from 8 to 9 p.m. we have our Shiro League. It's a community of women unrecorded Zoom meeting where we just get together, we support each other, we find joy together, we work through self-care, we also work through challenges, and we just have a great time. Once a month we have a meditation, and then we also have an open house once a month. So if you want to come check us out, just email me at pearl@wsliving.com and I will get you all the details. And so as we close out the show, I want to remind everybody that we come into this world, this little rough oyster on the outside, but on the inside, you have this beautiful pearl. And I hope you all go find your inner pearl of greatness. Have a great day.